This episode was brought to you by CuriosityStream. Hey everyone, since you're watching one of my videos, I assume that you're a smart and interesting and, may I say, quite attractive person who likes learning about things. Well, if you want even more informative and entertaining media by someone who actually knows what they're talking about, you will love CuriosityStream, a streaming service with thousands of documentaries and non-fiction titles on pretty much everything and every subject. Science, history. Maybe you want to watch Fiddlin', so you can learn about the long, wonderful history of the fiddle. They've got it all for just $2.99 a month. And if you go to curiositystream.com/ToddInTheShadows, you'll get a 26% discount for the annual plan. That's less than $15 for the entire year. So click the link in the description and check them out now.
This is CuriosityStream.
Thank you, and on with the show.
By now, you've probably heard about Olivia Rodrigo's driver's license, which is taken...
About a few weeks ago, Billboard Twitter started blowing up with reports of a new song that, even before officially charting, was just racking up unfathomably huge amounts of streams. Like, we're talking insane, through-the-roof numbers. Numbers that make you think that maybe day traders on Reddit were artificially jacking up the streams, because these reports just straight didn't make any sense.
We talked to a Spotify rep during that first week, and they literally said, we've never seen anything like this.
By the time that the song, called Driver's License, did officially chart on the Hot 100, it debuted at #1. Debuting at #1 is usually reserved for megastars like Drake or Taylor Swift. This artist, Olivia Rodrigo, has a previous chart history that consisted of exactly one song scraping the bottom of the charts for exactly 2 weeks. So she's nowhere near the level where she can just skip to the front of the line like this. But even just placing at #1 doesn't really describe how much bigger this song is than anything else. If it were only half as huge as it is, it would still be miles above every other song in its general area. This just doesn't happen. Me personally, I was so blown away by the numbers that she was putting up that I immediately drafted her on waiver in the pop music fantasy league that I'm in. That's not a joke, by the way. I have a lot of money riding on BTS having a good year. So, with the kind of massive, unprecedented success this song was having, I decided that the correct thing for me to do was to avoid it for as long as I possibly could. I was having a lot of fun reading all the reporting on it and trying to imagine what kind of song could be inspiring this massive groundswell of support. Why it was called Driver's License, what it could possibly be about. Is it a kick-ass driving song? Is the driver's license a metaphor for freedom? Is it a song about being bored waiting in line at the DMV? Eventually, curiosity got the better of me, so I did listen. And,
I got my driver's license last week, just like we always talked about. I drove through the suburbs, crying because you weren't around.
Oh, okay. It's a breakup song.
I know we weren't perfect, but...
A teenage breakup ballad. Okay. There's always room for a song like this in the world. I get it. And because I get it, I don't get it.
And all my friends are tired of hearing how much I miss you.
I guess I was just expecting more. Something to justify all the hype. Or maybe something that justified none of the hype. The last time this happened was Old Town Road, and I didn't understand that song even a little at first. That one took me a long time to get. Honestly, I probably still don't get it completely. And in hindsight, that actually feels right. Like, Old Town Road was an actual game changer. It was a full-on paradigm shift. It should feel different. Like, yeah, that's right, you don't get it, old man. Everything is different now. But you still enjoy music by listening to it. Dancing on camera for 30 seconds is the only way to interact with music now. Look at you making playlists like a dinosaur. But no, Driver's License isn't that. It's a perfectly normal, acceptable little breakup song. We always have those, and we should.
'Cause you were so excited for me to finally drive up to your house.
The idea with the driver's license is, you know, we were gonna go all these places once I had my license, and now I have my license and you're gone. That's a pretty solid idea for a song. Really builds to a big bridge.
Red lights, stop signs,
so it's like a real power ballad. We haven't had one of those in a while. I definitely understand this being a hit, but twice as big a hit as anything else in just its first week? What's so special about it? There's been a lot of reporting on it, many different theories on how this blew up so big, and pretty much none of them have been like, well, because it's just so amazing, obviously. Okay then, well, let me take a look at the prevailing theories on what did drive Driver's License to such insane heights. So here's theory number 1. Pandemic, still happening. It's become a real dead zone out there for new music, at least from the really big names who need to make really big money off their projects and can't right now. Songs recorded before the pandemic carried us through most of 2020. A couple names like Taylor and Ariana were nice enough to drop projects anyway, but we're still running low. Blinding Lights is still in the top 5. That's from 2019. Like, I don't know when those next albums from Adele or Rihanna or Drake are gonna drop, but it probably won't be until things reopen. Although, if Rihanna does drop that next album, I'm basically gonna win the Fantasy League immediately, so fingers crossed. It's a pandemic, I gotta entertain myself somehow. My point is, there's a big opening right now in this dead zone. The big winners of the pandemic were On the Verge artists who jumped to the A-list and TikTok artists who were doing smash and grabs all year. But Olivia Rodrigo has somehow managed to be kind of both. She got big by posting her demos on TikTok and coming up like an actual grassroots artist, but that was almost certainly a carefully rolled out marketing strategy by her label because theory number 2, The Mouse. This song was brought to you by Disney, because of course they did. Disney owns almost the entirety of entertainment right now, including, for a brief period, yours truly. Because of a series of wacky buyouts in the tech world, for a while my checks were being signed by Uncle Walt himself. Nowhere's safe! Anyway, you may not know the name Olivia Rodrigo, I didn't. If you didn't either, you're probably not a teenager because she's actually one of the bigger new stars on the Disney Channel. I don't really watch the Disney Channel because, you know, I'm a grown man and I don't want to be put on a list. So names like Olivia Holt, Dove Cameron, Peyton List, I recognize them as famous people, the same way I recognize that NASCAR drivers are famous, but I couldn't really tell you anything else about them. But, you know, I do have Disney Plus, so I thought I'd check out what she's famous for. I watched every episode of her most recent show, High School Musical, the musical, the series. A funny name for a very dull show. Snooze fest. At least Glee made you bleed from the eyes. And before that, she was on a show called Bizarredvark, a show where she becomes a YouTube star and gets to live in Jake Paul's hype house.
We get to make even cooler videos for our fans, and we're finally gonna be around people who get us.
I only made it through one episode of this because everything about this show was horrifying to me. It's just so irresponsible for Disney to glamorize this lifestyle. Like, Hannah Montana was fine, pop stardom is safe and good, but YouTube, God no.
So many weirdos here. Frankie, we're home.
I need to go lie down and think about my life choices. Anyway, my point was, she's not nobody, she's already a big name. But that advantage only gets you so far. Lindsay Lohan was much more famous, she never came close. So, theory 3. The trends have been pointing in this direction for a while.
You didn't mean what you wrote in that song.
I think it's very interesting that Olivia's first song was a heartbreak ballad. See, in the past, a child star who wanted to be a pop star would either make heartwarming, uplifting crap, or they'd get very naked. But that doesn't really seem to fly these days. Ever since Lorde broke through in 2013, labels have tried to recalibrate and find a way to manufacture her authenticity with up and down success, and that's left the ones who came up more traditionally in kind of a weird place. A bunch of them are also making slow-tempo, angsty music about their personal lives, trying to copy what Lorde did, including this song. This bridge right here, it sounds exactly like Lorde. Lorde also wrote a whole breakup album, and it was not very commercially successful, but it did win a lot of acclaim. So naturally, it's the song that copies the underrated cult favorite that reaps all the reward. Olivia is basically the Owl City to Lorde's Postal Service. But again, she wasn't the only one trying this. This is the out-of-the-box smash that Selena Gomez, Halsey, and so many others have been trying to have for years. And they didn't do it, but Olivia did. So let's move on to theory 4. Actually, the song really is that amazing. Well, okay, it's a possibility. Let's listen to it.
I know we weren't perfect, but I've never felt this way for no one.
weren't perfect, but I've never felt this way for no one.
And I just can't imagine how you could be so okay now that I'm gone.
A teenager wrote this. And see, the thing is, I'm not a teenager anymore. My next breakup will probably be soundtracked by 45-year-old divorced dad music.
Take a look at me now.
Ah, sing it, Phil. Meanwhile, Driver's License is not an all-ages song.
I got my driver's license.
It's literally about getting your driver's license, so it's not for adults. Unless you, like, grew up in New York City and you're moving to Connecticut, so now you finally need to learn to drive, and also you got broken up with. So this is not gonna hit the same way for me.
You said forever, now I drive alone past your street.
He said forever? A 17-year-old boy said you two were forever, but you weren't. Wow, who could have seen it coming? But there are definitely some real strong points to this song. I like that the lyrics are very specific. The driver's license is a great hook. It feels real. It's emotionally true, I guess. One thing you really mourn in a breakup is all the things you didn't get to do together. Like me back in high school, I rented The Secret of Nim on DVD to watch with my girlfriend, but before we watched it, we broke up. And I guess I must have been looking forward to it because the thought of watching it without her was so painful that I just refused to watch it. And I still haven't to this day. And I won't. And I haven't even spoken to her in years, but I will not watch that film. Not ever. Not unless I ever see her again, so I can watch it with her.
Red lights, stop signs, I still see your face in
Anyway, yeah, I think I do like this song. There are a lot of other cool parts in there. I like the way that it sounds like a car, like an engine turning off. And Olivia is a good singer, but more importantly, she's a good actress. I do believe that she's very sad. It's not a mature song, but it's a mature performance. You know, I think it's cool that this is how she chose to introduce herself to the wider world. I like that she's not doing the typical child star thing of trying too hard to be provocative.
used to go to, 'cause I still fucking love.
She... Wait, why was I so shocked by that?
I still fucking love.
Like, I wasn't faking. I literally gasped when I first heard that line. Why? She's not destroying my image of her. I don't know who she is. It's not like a cursing high schooler generally makes my jaw drop like that, so I guess it just felt really out of place. I didn't see it coming, I guess, but I'm not sure it worked. Funny how using adult language makes you seem more like a child when you do it wrong. Okay, so some of this is a little clunkier than it needs to be, I guess. But if I were the right age, I think this would in fact break my little teenage heart. But that's because everything broke my little teenage heart. Teenagers cry, it's what they do. The fact is that probably no song would be good enough on its own to explain success like this. It's just too much an outlier. So let's move on to the next theory, hot celebrity gossip. Forget whether the song is emotionally true. Is it actually true? Artists more and more invite us into their personal lives with their music. And if you like rooting into celebrity dirty laundry, this song is a gold mine. Word on the street is that her ex is her High School Musical co-star Joshua Bassett, and this lyric,
You're probably with that blonde girl who always made me doubt.
that's about Bassett's new girlfriend and somewhat more famous Disney star Sabrina Carpenter. I don't even know if any of that is true, but everyone involved is sure riding high off the gossip, especially since both Bassett and Carpenter have fired back at her with response tracks.
I know what you say about me.
I've listened to both, and they are horribly transparent, especially Sabrina's.
Then you can't get under my skin if I don't let you in.
Like, she acts like this whole thing doesn't bother her, but it clearly does, so it's transparent in that regard. But also, it's transparently trying to piggyback off of Olivia's success. The song has no reason to exist. I got dumped and I'm sad is something to write a song about. My boyfriend's weepy ex is annoying is not. Or at least it's not without going full mean girl and making something really bratty and cruel. These are terrible responses to this song. Unless the idea was to get revenge by releasing songs so bad that they taint Driver's License by association, which is kind of what's happening. Both these songs make the whole driver's license phenomenon look like a publicity stunt and we're all being played. Like, oh, they just happen to have songs locked and loaded with full videos to be released within a week. Sure. On the other hand, both the response songs are doing nothing because they're terrible. So even if there is a lot of astroturfing involved, it's clear that there's only so much even the Disney Corporation can do. Driver's License actually is resonating with the kids. And you know what, me too, I think I've talked myself into liking this song. I don't think it's going to change my life, I wouldn't make it the biggest hit of the decade, but I think it's pretty worthy. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if I like it even more by the end of the year. This song benefited greatly from the pandemic. There's not a lot of competition, and we're all feeling very lonely. But at least right now, there's an excuse. Pretty soon, there will be places to go and things to do again. So when that happens, and you're still driving alone, this song is absolutely going to wreck you. I can't wait. See you at the end of the pandemic, everyone!
Yeah, you said forever, now I drive alone past your street.